Welcome back. If you've just started your new nutrition plan, you may have already noticed that you feel more awake or energized than you used to be. Maybe you feel smaller or more toned. That's the result of your body returning to the normal balance and its natural healthy state. Most people feel great almost straight away, but some find they have less energy than before. It's alright if that happens too. Just stick to the plan. It's not because you didn't eat breakfast, and it's not because you aren't getting enough carbs. Your body is just taking whatever time it needs to adjust. I have never had anyone go longer than 3 days with low energy. By the 4th day, the energy will start coming through, and you won't believe how good you feel by the end of the week. Okay, we're going to cover some things that happen to people. One of them is constipation. Another thing that can happen is you might get constipated. The shock of the sudden change in diet can have this effect on people. If that happens to you, don't panic. You don't need to start eating fruit or whatever to get things moving again. Once the body has gotten over the shock of the change, it will revert back to normal within a few days. If you're worried about it, then try alpine tea to get things moving again. From what I've heard, it's quite effective. Eventually, you'll be going as regular as clockwork. Fruit. I reckon don't eat fruit until you get in shape, and then add it back into your diet if you want to later on. Here's why. 1 apple has about the same amount of carbs as a slice of bread. You might think that eating an apple would be better than eating a slice of bread, which is made from wheat and sugar and salt. But is an apple really any less toxic than a slice of bread? And is it as healthy as you believe? As far as weight loss goes, let's do the numbers. Say you ate 10 grams of bread. Blood sugar would rise, and insulin might store 10% of that as fat. Insulin is also required to feed muscle cells. So once the muscle cells are fed, they release a hormone that tells the brain, it's okay, we're fed, switch off hunger. So when you eat 10 grams of sucrose, or starch, or lactose, 1 gram gets stored as fat, and hunger gets switched off. The sugar in fruit is fructose. When fructose gets into the system, 40% of it is converted into fat by the liver. So 10 grams of fructose make 4 grams of fat. To top it all off, fruit doesn't make you release as much insulin, so the muscle cells don't get fed, and therefore the brain doesn't get the message to switch off hunger. So you eat fruit and you're still hungry. So you eat more fruit and you're still hungry. And every time you eat it, you're getting fatter. I witnessed a girl gain 4 kilos in 3 weeks. She decided she was going to lose weight by eating healthy. All she ate for 3 weeks was a bunch of grapes. 1 bunch for breakfast and 1 bunch for dinner. That was it. Nothing but grapes. According to the calories in versus calories out idea, she should have lost weight. She was eating less than 900 calories a day, but she put on 4 kilos. Fruit makes you fat. Think about it. Look at the evolution board here. Fruit is seasonal. Even if you were lucky enough to be in an area that had edible fruit, you'd still have only got it for a few months of the year. It wasn't getting shipped in from another country and stored for you so that you could get it, so you could get 2 or 3 serves of it every day for the whole year. Now, if you believe fruit is good for you, then there is a few more things you should know. But I will cover the truth about supermarket fruit in the Health, Vitality and Anti-Aging DVD. Taking a day off. Everyone tends to have some special food that they're addicted to. I usually pick up on what the food is when I'm doing someone's nutrition plan. They usually say something like, I just love chocolate, or how will I survive without my roast spuds, or something like that. I find that it's a good idea to make sure you plan to get your particular special food once a week. If you know that you are allowed to eat it, you won't stress about it. It's not a day off, but it is a meal off, where you get to eat whatever you think you emotionally need. If it happens to be more than one thing, then make sure you do it, all in one go. Don't spread it out all over the week. What I mean is, if you think you are craving roast spuds and you would really like a wine or two, then give yourself a break. Go open a bottle, cook yourself a roast and have an ice cream for dessert too if you want. Just make sure you do it all in one go. You need to check your results. Every member seems to have a different name for the 2 weekly result checks we do here. Names range from weigh-in, because we use the scales, to pinchy test, because we use skinfold calipers, or measure up, because we take measurements. Mostly it's called the fat test, because we calculate how much fat you have lost. I find that 2 weeks is the maximum amount of time to wait between fat tests. If you are a member, make sure you don't miss a fat test, even if you don't think you've done well. Almost every time, no matter how bad a person thinks they have done, when they turn up for the fat test, they are surprised to find it wasn't so bad after all. It's then you realise how negative we can get sometimes. One of the reasons we do the checks is to keep you on track or help you get back on track. I can't stress enough how important the checks are, especially in the first 6 weeks. I am deliberately repeating this, but one of the mistakes people make at the beginning is they jump on the scales at home every day. If you are doing your own measurements, then weigh yourself at the start, but don't do it again until at least 4 weeks. It's way better to measure yourself every 2 weeks. Negative comments. When you get in shape fast, people notice. Some people don't say anything. Some people say positive things and others say negative things. Strange as it may seem, the most negative and unhelpful comments can come from the most caring of friends. Here you are, losing weight, feeling great, and starting to look real good, and next thing someone says, "You shouldn't lose weight that fast. It's not good for you." Or, "You've lost so much weight. Are you ill? Or do you have cancer?" Or how about, "Don't lose too much weight. You'll need something to come and go on when you get sick." Look, you can lose as much fat as you want, as fast as you want, so long as you are not losing muscle. For some people it comes off faster than others. Your body knows what it's doing, so trust it. If you are nourishing yourself and you're not hungry, you are fine. You can't blame your friends for worrying about you though. Probably the only time they saw someone lose weight fast was when they were sick, so they would naturally assume something was wrong with you too. I see people losing weight all the time, but they are all getting healthier. I know they're getting healthier because my antioxidant health scanner doesn't lie. As far as they having extra weight to come and go on when you're sick, well, the reasons people catch all the bugs that are going around is because they're not eating properly and they are overweight. Most of us are overweight and undernourished. Missing meals. Here is something that will help you get over the fear of not eating every 3 hours or the fear of missing meals. The eating every 3 hours idea came about from the belief that we needed carbohydrates for energy. So they thought that eating lots of small carbohydrate meals would keep our fuel tank topped up. The truth is, we don't need carbs at all. Our bodies prefer fat for fuel. It has used fat for fuel for about 2.5 million years. The average New Zealand woman's fat percentage is about 25%. At 75 kilograms, she will have more than 18 kilograms of fat. Now every kilogram of stored fat is 7,700 calories. So that's 144,000 calories of spare fuel just in case you miss a meal. That's enough to fuel you for 96 days. Honestly, is your metabolism really going to slow down if you skip a meal? Is it going to slow down if you don't eat for a day? No way. Lots of people regularly fast for 1 or 2 days. It's actually really good for you. In fact, it is supposed to happen. A well-nourished man can live from 50 to 75 days without food, provided he is not under physical or emotional stress. Fasting and detoxing. While we're on the subject of missing meals, let's take a look at fasting. I have also included detoxing here as well, because fasting is actually the only way to detox fully. What I have found over the years is that detox pills and potions are just a waste of money. The only time you will ever detox or get stuff out of your body is when you stop putting stuff into it. Every night when you are asleep, you are detoxing because you are not eating. Also, when you eat what I call clean food, you will naturally detox slowly over a period of time because there is less junk going in, and each night the toxic load in your body will decrease. By clean food I mean grass-fed New Zealand beef and lamb, free-range chicken, wild-caught fish and organically grown low-calorie vegetables. Most clients who follow my nutrition advice lose weight steadily until they reach their goal, but others can sometimes reach a plateau that they can't get past. Sometimes this is just a long-held unconscious belief that they are big-boned or that they will never be a thin person, and it's holding them back. Emotional freedom technique usually takes care of that, but sometimes it really is something physical. Toxic compounds that enter the body can't be left to circulate around for too long because it causes a lot of damage. So if your body can't get rid of it immediately, it will just store it away somewhere. Your fat cells are the perfect toxin storage site. In fact, fat cells that hold the toxins will be marked so that they are the last cells to release back into circulation. It's possible that these people who plateau have a lot of toxins stored in their fat cells, and the body just doesn't want to release them into the system. When I get someone to do a 3-day fast, they usually get headaches and aching muscles for the first couple of days, as the body releases the fat stores that have the toxins in them. By the 3rd day they start to feel better. Those that carry on fasting until they get hungry tend to get more energetic each successful day. Sometimes they get so energized they feel as though they have to get outside and go burn some energy off somehow. I'm still very cautious about using fasting. Remember that for every action there's a reaction rule? Well, I have seen people lose 5 kilos in a 3-day fast. But what can happen is they think, wow, that wasn't so as hard as I thought. I'll do another fast next week and I'll lose another 5 kilograms. Big mistake. The body isn't stupid. As soon as you start fasting next time, your body will react. It can make you so hungry that you just can't do it, and then you feel like a failure. Then you might start eating comfort foods, and next thing you know, you're back where you started. I reckon use fasting for a plateau breaker, once you've tried all the other possibilities, and then leave it at that. Maybe you could try another fast a year later if you think you need to detox some more. But otherwise, all you probably need right now are some good antioxidant supplements. Under the PDF tab on the BodyBuzz website, there is a 21-page document on the facts about fasting by Dr. Herbert Shelton, who supervised the fasting of more than 40,000 people over a period of 50 years. It's real interesting reading, and it breaks a lot of myths that we have about missing meals. Okay, the best exercises for fat loss. Just reminding you once again that cardio exercise doesn't burn as many calories as you thought. And the biggest problem with cardio exercise is it makes you hungry. I promised to show you which are the best exercises for fat loss. Remember that for every action there's a reaction rule. Well, if you do high intensity exercise like sprinting or weightlifting, you burn sugar for fuel. And if you do low intensity exercise like walking or jogging, you burn body fat for fuel. They called walking and jogging cardio exercise because your heart beats faster when you do it, so they assumed it would be good for your heart. It would appear that if this low intensity cardio exercise burns mostly fat, then doing lots of it will get us leaner. Unfortunately, that's not what actually happens. When I do a fat test and notice someone has lost muscle and gained fat, I usually find out they've been eating carbs or doing cardio exercise. What happens is, when they exercise, they burn extra body fat, and the reaction to burning extra body fat is to replace it. And if you keep doing more and more cardio, the body will start adding extra fat cells so you can do even more cardio. The reaction is you get fitter and fitter and fatter and fatter unless you can control what you eat. And of course it's harder to control what you eat when you get unusually hungry. As it turns out, the typical cardio exercise isn't even good for your heart. Here's why. Your heart muscle is just that, a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. Cardio exercise does not get your heart rate high enough. If you were to train your bicep muscle, you might do 1 or 2 sets of arm curls using a heavy weight. This almost maximum stress keeps your biceps strong. You wouldn't get a really lightweight and do it for an hour. Same goes for your heart. Find an exercise you can do that gets your heart rate up high within 30 seconds. I have found a steep hill and I run up it fast. It takes about 20 seconds before I run out of breath and have to stop. Then I turn around and walk slowly back down the hill again. This gives my heart time to recover so I can do another set. 3 sets are enough for me. I do that on a Tuesday morning and a Friday morning. This is real cardio exercise. Increasing or maintaining the capacity of your heart is how you keep your heart strong. As it turns out, the exercises that make you stronger, like sprinting and weightlifting and vibration training, are the best for fat loss as well. When I sprint up the hill, my muscles will be burning sugar. The reaction to burning sugar is to replace it. If you eat carbs, your body will use what you just ate to refuel your muscles. If you don't eat carbs, your body will have to make sugar out of your stored body fat. So if you want real fitness, a strong heart and a leaner body, make sure you do exercises that strengthen you. By the way, vibration training uses strength muscles. That's why you get stronger and leaner at Body Buzz. Now, when to exercise. Another mistake people make with exercise, besides wasting their time doing the wrong thing, is that they do it at the wrong time of the day. Morning is definitely a better time to do cardio exercise than evening. You see, for most people, the worst time for wanting to snack is after dinner when they are watching TV. Exercise makes you hungry, so if you exercise before dinner, the craving for something sweet around about 8:30 is even worse. If you do your cardio in the morning, it doesn't seem to affect your appetite the same. Also, have you ever noticed that when you are really focused on getting something done, that you totally forget about eating? Well, most of us are busy in the morning. We are getting kids off to school, or getting ready for work, or both. When you're busy at work, you're not thinking about food. Snacking. I quite often hear people say that if they feel a little peckish, they will have a snack. What is snacking? Next time you grab something to snack on, I want you to ask yourself, am I peckish really? Or am I bored? Or am I just filling in time? Or am I eating instead of doing a chore that I don't like doing? Or am I eating because I feel a bit down? Or am I eating because I feel tired? Do you get the picture? Remember this rule. I am not going to eat until I get hungry and then I know what I'm going to eat. Well, that means no snacking. If you are hungry, then forget the snacks. Go eat a meal and nourish yourself. If you are bored, go find something to do. Snacking won't get rid of the job you've been putting off. Snacking won't make you happy. Snacking won't make up for lost sleep. Unfortunately, we've conned ourselves into thinking that snacking and eating are the only pleasures in life we can depend on. This isn't true. Think about it. EFT. While we're on the subject of the mind, let me tell you about EFT. EFT is short for Emotional Freedom Technique. It's a quick and simple way to get rid of food cravings. If you want to find out more about it, there is a video on my website called EFT for Chocolate Cravings, where I teach a group of businesswomen how to do it. Can eating fat make you fat? While it's difficult to get fatter when you eat fat, it is possible that a high-fat diet can slow down the loss of stored fat. As I've explained before, the fat you eat is easy to absorb. Fat is what your body burns for energy. If it's not used for fuel, it is returned to the fat cell. By cutting back on carbs, eventually your weight will get down to a certain level and then it might stop coming off. At that point, if you want to lose more weight, you would need to cut down the size of your meals. Smaller meals automatically decrease the amount of fat in your diet. Less fat provided by your diet means you would have to use more stored fat for fuel instead, and you would start losing weight again. Do artificial sweeteners work? At first glance, it seems logical that if you use an artificial sweetener instead of sugar, you would lose weight. Unfortunately, studies show that this is not true, and here is why. Whether you eat carbs, protein or fat, there is always going to be some insulin released. There has to be, otherwise your cells could not be fed. The problem with eating carbs is that there is too much insulin released, which turns the extra calories into body fat. High blood sugar is not the only way to get insulin release. Anything that tastes sweet, whether it's high carb or no carb, will promote insulin response. Your ancient brain still thinks that if it's sweet, then it's got lots of sugar. And the sweeter it is, the more sugar it's got. Insulin will be released in preparation for all the extra sugar that it thinks is coming. Insulin stores fat. You don't get fatter when eating artificial sugar, but it will stop you burning body fat and you won't get leaner. I first discovered this when a client who was doing really well, with good weight loss results every week, suddenly stopped losing fat. I asked her if her diet had changed, or maybe she had added some cardio exercise, but she was adamant that nothing had changed. Later that day she called in to see me. She said that the only change she could think of was that she had started drinking Diet Coke again. But it couldn't be that, because it was 0 calories. I said, well, let's just test that theory. Don't drink Diet Coke for 2 weeks and see if there is a change. 2 weeks later, she was 2 kilograms lighter. Just that same week, another client had eliminated Diet Coke from his menu and he got the same result. Another problem with artificial sweeteners is they are not good for you. That same girl who I told you about was going to see her doctor about headaches, and she was also going to the optometrist about her vision. When she stopped the Diet Coke, all those symptoms went away. The artificial sweetener in most diet drinks is aspartame. Potential health effects include cancer, asthma, headaches, dizziness, anxiety, memory loss, depression, insomnia, blindness, diabetes and seizures. Not one of the healthiest choices you could make. Vitamin and mineral supplement. I've always wondered, am I wasting my money taking a vitamin and mineral antioxidant supplement? Well, now I know for sure. The biophotonic scanner doesn't lie. It measures the antioxidant level in your body. I've found that almost all my clients who have followed my nutritional advice for 8 months or more score highly on the test. They are now in good shape, they have good clear skin, and they don't easily pick up colds or viruses. Most people though need more antioxidants in the form of a supplement. I will make a DVD on health and vitality and anti-aging soon, but for now, if you want to find out what your health score is, you'll need to come and book a time with me. Diet pills. I have trained a lot of overweight people over the years. I remember this one guy who I helped to get in shape. He followed my nutrition plan and he was really getting to look good. Then his life got a bit hectic and he stopped eating properly and he stopped working out. The next time I saw him, he was getting overweight again. He said that he had been to the doctor and he had got some special diet pills. Apparently the pills were supposed to block the body's ability to store fat. He reckoned that he could eat whatever he liked and still lose weight. There were a few side effects to the drug though. One of the problems, he had to wear a small nappy because things could get a bit messy down there. I tried to explain to him that even if they worked, he would need to be on them for the rest of his life if he wanted to stay in shape. The lifestyle change we had made was working great, so why not stick with that? But he wanted to take the lazy way out. To cut a long story short, it didn't work, and he never bothered trying to get in shape again. Diet pills and potions have been coming and going longer than I've been in the weight loss business. When my clients want to try a new diet pill, I test their results. I tested some out on myself as well. What I've found is a lot of them actually work for a short time. None of them work for very long because your body adapts and adjusts itself back into balance again. The latest one I tested was the green coffee extract. I like the sound of it because it supports stable blood sugar levels. Sure enough, it worked in the first week. I found there was a real lack of desire to eat. I felt satisfied after a small meal. There was a 2 centimetre loss in my waist measurement. I tried it for another week and there was no change. My body had adapted to the pill already. Same thing happened with my clients. I know what you're thinking. Why not take the pill once every couple of months or so and so the body doesn't get used to it? But I've already tried that with supplements. What happens is your body remembers the pill you took and it adjusts quicker each time you introduce it. After 2 or 3 goes, it has no effect at all. Coffee. Coffee has caffeine in it. Caffeine is supposed to lift your metabolism and help you burn fat. Someone had this great idea. They thought, well, if you are burning body fat all night, then you're still burning fat in the morning, so why not get up and go for a walk and increase the fat burning? But even better, why not have a strong coffee 30 minutes before your walk? Then you will burn even more fat. Well, it actually works for some people, but not for very long. You see, the coffee trick only works for people who don't drink coffee. When you begin to drink coffee, you get the effects for a little while. But just like the diet pills, your body is going to adapt and adjust itself back into balance again. And then the caffeine trick won't work anymore. Now, if you were already a coffee drinker, your body would have long ago adapted. So a coffee in the morning is not going to make a scrap of difference. That's why it only works for some people. I can tell you from experience that coffee is not good for you, and in the long run it will actually stop you losing weight. And because of the effect it has on your liver, it could even make you fatter. The food combining diet. When you eat food, your stomach produces acid to break it down. Then the food is moved into your duodenum, where it secretes sodium bicarbonate to get the acidity down so that the acid food won't burn your intestines when it gets to there. The small intestine is where you absorb all the goodness from your food. The food gets less and less acid and more alkaline as it moves through. When you eat meat, your stomach produces plenty of acid and pepsin to break down the proteins and fats. But when you eat something starchy like potato and kumara, your stomach doesn't need to produce as much acid to break it down. The food combining diet says that you should not mix spuds with meat, as it will stop the stomach producing enough acid to break down the protein and fats, which means some of the food won't be broken down enough by the time it gets to the small intestine, and that can cause a lot of problems. This diet is actually one of the few that actually makes any sense. Think about our Stone Age ancestors again. When the animal they had trapped was cooked and ready to eat, do you think they sent someone off to go get some green leafy vegetables to go with it? Would any sane carnivore turn its back on meat to go get some leaves? No way. You will notice that when we make our nutrition plan, we cut out the high calorie carbs. Well, a lot of the foods in the high calorie list are the starchy ones, so in effect we are kind of doing the food combining diet by default. We're actually doing the low GI diet by default as well. I think one of the reasons people feel so good so fast on my diet is that the food gets broken down and digested properly. A lot of people get indigestion. It's because they either aren't producing enough acid to break down the food, or they are getting too many carbs with their meal. Most of the time when they start eating properly, indigestion goes away. Another thing that stops your stomach from working properly is drinking water with your meal. If you drink water with your meal, you are diluting the acid in your stomach even further. Give yourself a chance to digest the food before you drink anything. Remember, a small meal will digest faster than a big one. big meals are really hard on you. The alkaline diet. When you eat fruit and veggies, an alkaline byproduct is produced, and you can actually measure that in your urine. Foods like meat, grains and sugar produce an acidic byproduct when you eat them. Someone decided that if the pH of your blood was slightly more alkaline, you would enjoy good health. They figured that if you ate less of the acid producing foods and more of the alkaline producing foods, then your blood would be less acidic and you would be healthier. The trouble with this theory is that the pH of your stomach has absolutely nothing to do with the pH of your blood. No food can change the acidity of anything in your body except your urine. Anyone who tells you that certain foods or a special supplement will make your blood more alkaline does not understand nutrition. Your bloodstream and organs control acidity at a very narrow range. Anything that changed acidity in your blood would make you very sick and could even kill you. So if you didn't die from that big fat juicy steak you had last night, it's probably safe to say that meat is okay to eat. The blood type diet. Peter D'Adamo wrote the book called The Blood Type Diet. It's based on the belief that you should eat foods according to your blood type. He reckons that if you are an O blood type, then you have the oldest blood type, so you should not eat grains, and for exercise you should do aerobics. If you have A blood type, you should become a vegetarian and meditate. If your blood type is B or AB, he also has diets for that as well. Unfortunately for him, he got it all wrong. As it turns out, O is not the oldest blood type. ABO blood type is the oldest blood type at about 6 million years. The B split off about 3.5 million years ago, and the O split off from the A about 2.5 million years ago. A hematologist is someone who studies blood and nutrition. To them, the theory of linking blood type to diet is ridiculous. It has no relation to reality. The genes for blood type have nothing to do with the genes that handle the food we eat. What happens is a lot of people try these diets and some of them actually get results. For instance, if you were type O and you were also gluten intolerant, but you didn't know that you were, and then you stopped eating bread and cereal because you weren't allowed to anymore, then of course you're going to feel good. I could go on and on about diets and nutrition and exercise. I mean, the script I wrote for this video series alone is 40 pages, and it only covers the basics. In the end, what will stop you from getting into shape is not the food or the exercise. It's what you believe and hear. You might consciously want to lose weight, and now you can clearly see what you have to do. But it's your unconscious mind that will trip you up. If when you were young, you unconsciously downloaded a belief that to leave something on your plate is a waste, then no matter how full you are at the moment, your unconscious mind will make you eat everything on that plate anyway. On the other hand, you might eat every last thing on that plate because you are still unconsciously trying to please your dad, and he died 20 years ago. Do you notice that it's when you're not busy that you find yourself looking in the fridge or the pantry? Maybe you're just looking for something to stuff down some emotions that you would rather not think about. Food is a useful emotion numbing device. It's like alcohol and drugs. Maybe when you were young, your unconscious took on a belief that getting fatter would create more distance between you and another person that you were afraid of. Stay big and keep safe. Maybe you've just got to have a chocolate bar every afternoon, even though you know you're not hungry. What's the belief that makes you do that? Everyone creates unconscious beliefs. The trouble is, some of the beliefs that worked great for us when we were young are now working against us. You see, your unconscious mind can handle 134 bits of information a second, but your unconscious mind processes 4 million pieces of information per second. What I'm trying to say here is, no matter how hard you consciously try, eventually in the end, your unconscious will win unless you let go of the beliefs that aren't working for you anymore. One of the best things you can do is book an EFT session with me. I can help you uncover those beliefs and show you how to let them go. My mission is to educate and inspire you. I don't want food to rule your life anymore. Hopefully this video series has helped you put the power of choice back into your own hands. Getting in shape and being healthy are the same thing. So with that in mind, keep in touch with me and look for upcoming videos on how to keep a healthy heart and how to avoid cancer. Thanks for watching.